The figure of Lucifer has captivated and perplexed theologians, scholars, and artists for centuries. His journey from a celestial being associated with light to the embodiment of darkness and evil is a tale woven through the fabric of biblical narrative. We encounter glimpses of this transformation in both the Old and New Testaments, where the character undergoes a significant evolution in name, attribution, and symbolic representation. This essay delves into this intriguing metamorphosis, exploring the linguistic and theological shifts that have shaped our understanding of Lucifer. Our exploration begins with the name Lucifer itself, a term not found in the original Hebrew texts of the Old Testament. Instead, we encounter the name Hellel, a Hebrew word meaning shining one or morning star. This name appears in the book of Isaiah, specifically in Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12, where it refers to the king of Babylon and his prideful fall from grace. This passage, often interpreted allegorically, describes a celestial being cast down from heaven due to his ambition to usurp the throne of God. The transformation from Hellel to Lucifer occurs in the Latin Vulgate, a 4th century translation of the Bible by Jerome. Jerome, translating from Hebrew to Latin, chose the Latin word Lucifer to render the Hebrew Hellel. Lucifer in Latin literally means light-bearer, a term often used to refer to the planet Venus when it appears in the morning sky. This translation, while seemingly straightforward, carries significant symbolic weight, linking the fallen Babylonian king with the imagery of a fallen star. This connection between a celestial being associated with light and the eventual embodiment of darkness is a theme that resonates throughout Lucifer's transformation. The image of a star casting itself down from heaven, a being of light consumed by its own ambition, sets the stage for the complex character that Lucifer would become in later theological interpretations. The name Hellel, as we've established, originates from the Hebrew word meaning shining one or morning star. This celestial imagery is significant, particularly in the context of ancient Near Eastern cosmology. Stars, especially those as bright as Venus, held a prominent place in the celestial hierarchy. They were often associated with gods or divine beings, representing power, majesty, and guidance. In the case of Hellel, the title Shining One suggests a being of great brilliance and splendor. This celestial association amplifies the tragedy of his fall, highlighting the stark contrast between his former glory and his subsequent downfall. The imagery of a radiant star plummeting from the heavens emphasizes the magnitude of his rebellion and the depth of his punishment. Furthermore, the connection between Hellel and the morning star adds another layer of interpretation. The morning star Venus heralds the arrival of dawn, symbolizing hope, renewal, and the triumph of light over darkness. Hellel, bearing this title, could be seen as a being who once embodied these positive attributes. His fall, therefore, represents a perversion of these qualities, a corruption of light into darkness, and a descent from grace into pride and rebellion. The name Hellel, therefore, is not merely a descriptive title, but a powerful symbol laden with theological and cosmological significance. It underscores the tragic narrative of a being blessed with celestial radiance who, through his own pride and ambition, falls from grace and is cast into the depths of darkness. This concept of a fallen angel, a being of light corrupted by its own desires, would continue to shape the character of Lucifer in later religious traditions. To fully grasp the significance of Lucifer's transformation, we must understand the role of cherubim in biblical cosmology. Often depicted as winged beings with multiple faces, cherubim occupy a unique position within the heavenly hierarchy. They serve as guardians of the sacred, protectors of divine spaces, and attendants to the throne of God. Their presence signifies the sanctity of a place or object, emphasizing its separation from the mundane and its connection to the divine realm. In the Garden of Eden narrative, for instance, cherubim are placed at the east of the garden to guard the tree of life after Adam and Eve's expulsion. This placement highlights the cherubim's role as guardians of paradise, preventing humanity's access to the tree of eternal life. Their presence underscores the separation between the human and divine realms, a consequence of humanity's disobedience and fall from grace. Ancient Near Eastern art frequently depicts cherubim flanking the thrones of kings and deities. These images often portray cherubim with elaborate wings, symbolizing their ability to traverse the celestial realms. Their multiple faces, often including those of a human, a lion, an ox, and an eagle, represent their omniscience and their ability to perceive all things. These depictions emphasize the cherubim's role as intermediaries between the divine and earthly realms. They are not simply guardians, but also messengers and attendants to the divine, conveying God's will and carrying out his commands. Their presence in both the Old and New Testaments underscores their enduring significance in biblical cosmology, representing the power, majesty, and sanctity of the divine presence. Section 4, From Hellel to Satan, a transformation in identity. While the name Hellel appears in the Old Testament, the name Satan emerges more prominently in the New Testament. This shift in nomenclature reflects a broader transformation in the character's representation. While Hellel primarily embodies pride and rebellion against God, Satan takes on a more explicitly adversarial role, actively opposing God's will and tempting humanity towards sin. In the New Testament, Satan is depicted as a cunning and deceptive being, often appearing in disguise to tempt and deceive. He challenges Jesus in the wilderness, tempting him with worldly power and glory. This encounter highlights Satan's role as the ultimate tempter, seeking to undermine God's plan and lead humanity astray. The Gospels and the Book of Revelation further solidify Satan's image as the arch-enemy of God and humanity. He is described as the ruler of this world and the father of lies, actively working to oppose God's kingdom and lead souls to damnation. This portrayal contrasts sharply with the image of Hellel, the fallen morning star. Satan represents a more active and insidious form of evil, actively working to undermine God's creation and thwart his divine plan. This transformation from Hellel to Satan reflects a broader shift in theological understanding between the Old and New Testaments. The Old Testament emphasizes God's power and sovereignty, with Hellel's rebellion representing a challenge to that authority. The New Testament, however, introduces the concept of a more personal and relatable God, one who actively engages with humanity through the person of Jesus Christ. Satan, in this context, becomes the embodiment of everything that opposes God's love and grace, a cosmic adversary who seeks to separate humanity from its creator. Section 5, The Serpent's Shadow, distinguishing Hellel from Satan. While the figure of Lucifer often becomes intertwined with the serpent in the Garden of Eden, it's important to note that the Bible itself does not explicitly make this connection. The serpent in Genesis is described as a cunning creature who tempts Eve, but it is not identified as Hellel or Satan. This distinction is crucial as it allows for a more nuanced understanding of both figures and their respective roles in biblical narrative. The serpent's primary characteristic in Genesis is its craftiness. It uses cunning words and deceptive arguments to persuade Eve to eat the forbidden fruit. This act of temptation introduces sin and death into the world, marking a pivotal moment in human history. However, the serpent's motivations remain ambiguous. It is unclear whether it acts out of malice, a desire to thwart God's plan, or simply a mischievous nature. Hellel, on the other hand, is explicitly motivated by pride and rebellion. His desire to usurp God's throne reflects a conscious choice to oppose divine authority and establish his own dominion. This ambition aligns more closely with the later depiction of Satan as the arch-enemy of God, actively seeking to undermine his rule and tempt humanity away from him. The distinction between the serpent and Hellel highlights the complexity of biblical symbolism. While both figures represent temptation and disobedience, their motivations and ultimate goals remain distinct. The serpent's actions introduce sin into the world, but its motives remain shrouded in mystery. Hellel, on the other hand, embodies a more deliberate form of rebellion, a conscious choice to challenge divine authority and establish his own rule. Section 6, Enduring Mystery, the Legacy of Lucifer and the Serpent. The transformation of Lucifer from the Shining One, Hellel, to the embodiment of darkness and evil is a journey fraught with theological and linguistic complexities. The shift from a fallen star to the arch-enemy of God reflects a broader evolution in religious thought, shaping our understanding of good, evil, and the nature of cosmic conflict. The enduring mystery surrounding Lucifer and the Serpent continues to captivate and inspire. Their stories serve as cautionary tales, reminding us of the dangers of pride, the seductive nature of temptation, and the consequences of disobedience. They also highlight the ongoing struggle between good and evil, both within the human heart and on a cosmic scale. The images of the fallen star and the cunning serpent have permeated art, literature, and popular culture, serving as enduring symbols of rebellion, temptation, and the duality of human nature. Whether viewed as literal beings or symbolic representations of deeper spiritual truths, Lucifer and the Serpent continue to fascinate and challenge us, prompting reflection on our own relationship with power, temptation, and the divine.